This episode is brought to you by Twizzlers. Long day, late night, feeling a little bored? Twizzlers is the ultimate sidekick for any moment of the day, no matter what kind of day you're having. The perfect level of sweet and a fun excuse to sit back and relax. Unwind with Twizzlers. To buy now, visit Hersheyland.com/Twizzlers.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Burntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I uncover the blasphemous truth of a plague-ridden world, that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Burntwine, coming January 2nd, wherever podcasts are available.
Hello, world, and welcome back to a new episode of Thanks for Coming In. I'm your host, Jillian Clare. If you're new to the show, welcome. I have actors on every week, and we talk about their journey and their life, and some sad stories and some funny stories and embarrassing things. It's really fun. We have a good time. It's been a wild 24 hours. I don't know about you, but I didn't have to do cardio yesterday because my heart rate was so high all flippin' day. What a mess that was. That's all I got for you on that end. Good Lord. But hey, Georgia, you're the best, and I love you. If you live in Georgia, high five. You did it. Today on the show, we have my friend Liz Fenning. She's been in 1,000 things. She's a great person and a great activist and a fantastic actress. I adore her so much. And I'm very excited to catch up with her. So here is my conversation with Liz Fenning. Welcome to my darling friend, Liz Fenning.
I'm honored to be here, lady. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You know, this came up on me so quickly, the whole New Year thing. I was really enjoying not doing anything, and then I was like, oh, I have a podcast and I'm supposed to do an episode, and I was thinking, I'm like, who are my friends who are like always down to do things? And I was just like, Liz. I'm texting Liz.
I'm honored to be on the list of down people.
You are. I mean, you were in my movie too. I texted you like, hey, you want to be in my movie? And you're like, yeah.
I mean, first of all, that's like the most duh answer that I've ever given in my life. Anyone who doesn't know, she's talking about To the Beat 2, Back to School. And I was so honored to get to play her buddy. I was filling in for an actual real life best friend that couldn't make it because she had other conflicts. And it was, I mean, I got to be across from you and be directed by you, which again is one of the 9 million reasons that I don't understand the monster that you are on set.
And I feel that day was my stressor day. That day was bad. I just remember you and like Adam and other friends that I had on set just being like, it's okay, we're gonna get through. And I'm like, no, we're not. I'm gonna die on the stage, and that's gonna be the end of it.
For listeners, she's talking about a day where she had an amazing location where she had to shoot. I probably no exaggeration that it was like 8 billion scenes, including the entire cinematic climax of the feature film that she was doing with every single cast member.
Which was like, I think it rounded out to like, I don't know, 50 that were like principal speakers or something like that, something insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then we had half a day to film it all. I thought I had a whole day, half a day, and it was just, it was insanity. I think the producer actually cried, my mom. I'm pretty sure she cried to the children and was like, please focus. Please don't be shitheads.
I mean, but you did it. You got like everybody. It was, I mean, like herding cats would be easier. And I mean, like, and they're such darlings, and you could tell that everybody respected you and loved you. And you're one of those female directors that they talk about that's going to be the future of film and television, along with also being able to write
that is far too kind, but thank you.
I don't know. Again, I would have definitely had to be medically removed from set if I were in your position. And you were also
I
acting
thought
that day.
I was acting that day too. I thought I was. Like, I thought at one point for sure I was gonna have to be like sedated or something because it was so like so much pressure mounting at like one moment and then 1,000 different things that had to be done. I think, were you with me when like Adam just started playing the piano and like singing to like calm me down?
I remember seeing it. What's interesting is you're one of those people that has that wonderful response to real emergency settings or like, the high stakes stuff where you don't get crazy, you get really still. And I just remember like at a certain point in the day going like, oh, is she respirating? And so it was just, like you became more and more stoic. It's fascinating, which I think is what it takes. So I'm certainly glad that there
That's
was like,
hysterical because like to me, I truly feel like I'm acting like a crazy person in this
no,
situation. It's like I feel like I come off as being absolutely insane.
no, you're a G. You're one of those people that like, and that's so funny because I was also thinking about that story on the Titanic where the musicians play. Glad I didn't point that out in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, you got everything in the can, so clearly, and everybody felt like they were honored, and I mean, like everybody was in a great mood and taking pictures with you at the end of the day. So
Well,
that's
we
a good
got it.
sign.
We did it. I don't know how, truly. I don't know how. I thank the entire crew for that because they busted their asses
They were
so
amazing.
hard. They
That
were
team was
moving so quickly.
yeah, and lighting a space that's supposed to look like theatrical lighting for film. I mean,
For film,
that's
yeah, which is it's
brutal.
difficult in itself and like
Mhm.
trying to find like a way to actually get the sound correct. Anyway,
Oh my god.
we're we're
Sorry, guys.
5 minutes
Bye.
about to the beat too. It's cool, guys. But listen, hey, I've known you for what, like almost 5 years,
Girl,
4 years, 5 years,
that's
4,
crazy. Yeah, probably 5.
5. It's been a while, and
Yeah.
it's wild how we met. We did a show called Delusion, and we played the same character, and it was a lot of fun and a lot of blood
Yeah.
every night and sweat and tears and all of the things that go with
Interactive
being in a
stunts.
horror
Yeah,
show.
exactly.
Yeah, being thrown through walls. It was great. But you've been acting for a very long time and you're constantly working, you're constantly doing these awesome things. And I want to know how you got into it. Like, what made you decide to be an actor? Are you one of those crazy people that was also a child dancing
Hmm.
around saying, I need to be in something, give me attention?
Oh, that is so sweet of you. Thank you. Because when you're in it, you don't feel like you're constantly working. Like every gig feels like like a blessing from God, and you're just like, I shall hold this beautiful pearl. I uh, was definitely weird growing up and so bad with other people. Like I was a rodeo kid. There's been a lot of emergency dentistry in my life.
No.
Oh yeah, a lot of
Wait,
years
I
too.
need to hear some stories because I was like that as well.
Woo! Oh
I
my god,
had
yeah.
I had a fight with a tetherball a couple times. I lost both my front teeth to a tetherball.
Shut up. Oh, well, your teeth are amazing. So good job to your dentist. Like high five. So I've had a lot of stitches. I was a barrel racer and breakaway roper. I
What?
um and so so I'm like the least, I would say, natural actor in terms of like I have OCD, ADD, anxiety disorder,
Mhm.
dyslexia, I have PTSD, like I had a stutter, like
Oh my goodness.
if you were like who should be an actor, you would be like not this kid.
Not
um
Liz.
and and like out of nowhere I did 2 talent shows, and I sang that song from Fievel Goes West, Dreams to Dreams, and then the next year I did
Stop
stand
it.
up. Yeah.
Stop it. I
Yes,
love that.
wearing cowboy boots. I mean, like I think I just learned to brush my hair like last year. I mean, like I'm such a kid. I did rodeo in Moscow, Idaho, which is exactly as populated as it sounds.
Mm.
Um and I knew that I loved performing. Um but I just, with all of the feelings that
Mhm.
come with the risk, it was both. I don't know. I think that my soul knew that it was one of those things that it needed to grow. If I don't work for a while, it's like there's like a buildup of steam on my soul. But
I feel that.
Even into my senior year, I didn't want to apply to programs. And actually, the Carnegie that I went to was super late in sending in my application. And luckily, Jillian on Community's mom. Why am I forgetting her last name? She's married to Jillian.
Anderson? Is it
Yeah.
no?
Jillian. Oh my gosh, on Love.
I know
How
who
am I
you're talking
forgetting her
about.
name?
Crap.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Isn't it Gillian too?
Oh, it is. I bet it's Gillian. Yes. Anyway, so
It's
her
like
mom was
Gillian
in.
Jacobs. There you go.
Is it Jacobs?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So she is an administrator at Carnegie, and she was like, my daughter is also an actress. This is before she was a big deal. I had actually met her at my audition to Juilliard, and she was there to like, I spent the whole day vomiting. Luckily, the Carnegie Mellon audition went better. She's a very nice woman, I know from personal experience, but her mom, weirdly, both of those women are amazing. And she let me apply late. And that's how I ended up but I thought I was going to work in research because I was just like, I don't have, like I think you've said a couple of times on this podcast, you have to be okay with no. And I was so not okay with no. I was.
But I feel like that is definitely something that you get used to. Like, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. There's still a crap ton of things that I go out for that I'm not okay with the no. Yeah. But I like it's gonna happen most of the time, so then I just cry. But it's fine.
Yeah, the crying is part of it.
The crying is.
I say so. My husband Jacob, who obviously who's like the kindest man on the planet.
Yes.
He about every 3 months or 6 months deals with me being like, "That's it. I'm getting out of it. This is no longer tenable." And he does his very best to being like, "I'm totally taking you seriously. Mm-hmm. This is indeed a real life or death situation, which I haven't seen resolve itself with like 24 hours or a callback."
Of course. It's just, that's what goes with being an actor is like at least every 6 months you have to have that conversation with yourself of like, so I'm quitting now, right? This is it. I'm quitting. We're quitting. Cool. And then the next day you're just like, so any auditions for me? Do you have any? Yeah. I'll take a co-star. It's fine.
Oh my God. Yeah. When you're just a lifer.
Yeah, you're a lifer. So you went to Carnegie, and did you graduate from there? I literally don't know anything about this. This is amazing.
I did, I got so excited when you had Rebecca Metz on, because she's such a gem. So I never met her, but I saw her in a play about the birth of behavioralism called Brodus. It has a very long title. The short term is Brodus. She played like a rat, and she was brilliant.
Wonderful.
So she made me so proud. And so I went to Carnegie, which was the perfect program for me. I did not have like fun there because it was all about, like making you capable of existing in the world and the world of no. And I mean, like, I'm so, hey, there's a motorcycle passing by.
What's that motorcycle?
Holding for sound.
Holding? Okay, and we're going.
But yeah, I it was the right program for me. And it stretched me, and it has an event that started our freshman year called Playground, where once a year they shut down all classes in the drama conservatory, and they allow you to just do projects that are on your heart to do. So it's such a beautiful community. I mean, in every year I do like 4 productions and just not sleep and not eat. And and I think that honestly, like it's those little gems where you remind yourself why you're studying so hard, because they still run on that Edith Skinner kind of classic theater, dialect, accent work, phonetical alphabet.
Right. So Delusion must have been
really challenging. I mean, I was definitely like, we have to interact with people, as in talk, but
One of
with
my favorite things about delusion is when people like you and Sarah and, everyone else who is like a very professional theater person comes into delusion or any show like that, really. And you're just like, oh, so I have to deal with these people? What do you mean?
where's the proscenium march?
Yeah, I don't understand.
But
I have to deal with people being drunk in my face?
or just,
Why?
can you script my response to them? And it's like, no, you're gonna have to adapt to your surroundings. It was so humbling, and especially watching
Yeah.
the ease that you did it with, because we had to. I mean, that was part of the joy.
Well,
Is
but that
seeing
was my second year, so I had my fumbles.
appreciated and gracefully said. But I will say, like, I went, oh, so you have to be human. Honestly, delusion is such a gift because it made going into the rooms feel so much less scary. Because I
Yeah,
was like, well, chances 90% chance no one's inebriated in
right.
this office.
100%.
Um,
Nobody's gonna yell at you.
yeah,
So that's good. Most of the time, right? They're not gonna curse in your face or
or try to throw you
waterboard
down.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
gonna do any of that. So after Carnegie, what did you come to LA? Did you go to New
Yeah.
York? Like, what was the move?
I came out here with my friend Robert,
Hmm.
Maxheimer, who's now working at Disney. Very proud of that guy. But we came out in his Buick with a brief
Brilliant.
stopover in Texas, so I could learn how to drive a four-wheeler um, on his family's dairy lease. And yeah, I came out here, and we had showcase, and honestly, my response was better in New York.
Mm.
But I had known since I think I wrote down at 16 what I wanted my life to look like. And um, I also work with young adults on the autism spectrum,
Hmm.
teaching acting, pairing with social skills. That's always been something that's been really important to me. So I've worked with a charity out here, Actors for Autism, for
Which is amazing, and everybody should follow them. They do great events, and Liz is like the powerhouse.
and you were amazing. We had a job fair, and if I can just plug that, this woman also just has an incredible heart. So she was there in, I think, 48 hours notice, giving our students 110% of her energy. So I mean, I don't know, LA just it came together. It's the place that I wanted to live. It's the place where I feel like I've been presented a lot of opportunities to grow as a person around the
Mm.
work.
Hmm.
Because I think in film acting, and obviously theater is, I mean, there's so many lessons that theater teaches too, but because I had been so much more comfortable in that sphere, um, film, I learned that if you're lying in your life, it shows up in your work. And so I
Ooh,
had
I
to
like
do a
that.
lot of growing.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I don't know. It's just I know in the same way that Carnegie was such a gift for me, so was coming out here.
That's amazing. And then how long until you booked your first like thing that you were excited to write home about?
God, it was probably a year. All of my generals were um, my first manager, John Sittenfield, who's unfortunately not with us anymore, said one of the pieces of feedback I got was she's different in a different way.
What
And
does that mean?
I think it's a really nice way of saying weird. And what's so funny, she started out, she was an agent at an agency that was looking at me. Um, and she now represents one of my friends. She's in management now. She's a
Mm.
lovely person. I've talked with her after, and it's gone much better.
Oh,
But
good.
she said she sounds like a Scientologist when I met her. So I was so concerned about being what everybody expected in a meeting. Like they always
Yeah.
said, like, be the version of you on your first date. And I was so like, be normal, that I think
You
um
went like far opposite of normal.
yeah, like I was so positive. I kept using the word blessed like a lot.
Oh no.
And it just and it was a lesson that I had to learn over years.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm. You can shop from anywhere doing pretty much anything. You might shop while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast. And however you shop, we all know and love the thrill of the hunt. But do you also know how to get the thrill of the best deals? Because Rakuten shoppers do. With Rakuten, they get the deals they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Sephora, Nike, and even Expedia if you're looking to get some travel in. And getting cash back doesn't mean you have to miss out on sales because those can just be stacked right on top. It's easy to use and based on a simple idea. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back through PayPal or check. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's RAKUTEN.
This episode is brought to you by Twizzlers. Long day, late night, feeling a little bored? Twizzlers is the ultimate sidekick for any moment of the day, no matter what kind of day you're having. The perfect level of sweet and a fun excuse to sit back and relax. Unwind with Twizzlers. To buy now, visit Hersheyland.com/Twizzlers.
So all of my generals were like a total wash. And then I got a Lionsgate, a feature that was eventually picked up by Lionsgate. And it was the start of my, I call them my crying and dying years.
Ooh.
I worked a lot in horror and kind of thriller-based stuff, which is really exciting. And it was such the perfect genre to work in. I find that sci-fi and horror kind of distills, like people have a little bit more patience with the moral because it's a distillation of the idea, right? Like
right.
It's high stakes, so kind of like why when Artaud is lecturing about the reason that Theater and the Plague was supposed to be so meaningful and to the point about elemental to humanity, I think it's kind of the same thing, which is like if you're dealing with life and death, the big stuff is going to come up.
Right.
And it also just got me, if you're running in a scene where you're bleeding, you can't like get too in your head.
No.
So I'm really happy. I used to say that like nothing makes directors more excited than like wanting to snuff the life out of me.
Right.
Right. So I did a lot of dying.
That's hysterical. I think I've been in one horror film as an adult, and when I was in it, it was funny because I'm one of those people that laughs when I get scared or like when something bad happens, I laugh.
I love
So
that.
they had not shown us the aliens beforehand to get a real reaction, which was a very bad idea for me. Because it's supposed to be this very, like, monumental moment. You see the aliens for the first time, and I turn around and start cracking up, and I can't stop. And the director's just like, well, that's okay. Cut. I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably why I don't work in horror films anymore. But it's just,
I mean,
I
but
couldn't
you work
take
in
it.
beautiful dramas and like super, super fun, pithy things. Like like you are in the right field. I want to see you do much more than cry and die. So I'm totally for it. But that is very funny. And yeah, I think sometimes that effort to do a Gary Marshall
Yeah.
and snap the jewelry case closed on Julia Roberts, like, that's I'm sure that's not the only backfire that's happened.
Oh,
with
I'm
that
sure
method.
not. I mean, especially like when you're doing something involved in horror or sci-fi or things like that. I feel like doing a surprise tactic isn't going to work. It's not going to, at least for me, it was not going to work.
Yeah, well, and especially like I'm thinking of some of the stuff I shot early in my career. Like not all of it is like super fear provoking. Like the part that always special effects I think looks great on camera, but like sometimes like half of it's made out of like foam core, and you're like, maybe that's
Yeah.
not.
And then you're just like, okay, so this is, hey, Steve, how you doing? You doing good in there? Like, what do you,
That is
it's
a
bad.
man holding a pole. I'm
Yeah.
clear.
So what after your crying and dying days?
God,
Because
honestly,
you've been working so much, you've been doing so many things. I feel like I'm constantly seeing you promote something new, which is incredible.
no, thank you, honeybee. I think I've been lucky. I think the big turning point for me, I'd worked with a director named Perry Tiao, and this is kind of like this is both like a oh well crap story, but I was trying to think about like an example because I have so many auditions that didn't go great, but I thought that this was like a good fusion story. So
Yeah, give it to me.
yeah, so I've been coming in. John Wells is a graduate of Carnegie, and he had seen me doing the Oresteia. I was playing Cassandra in college, which is just like a lot of screaming to the gods and talking, like being like, "Hey guys, listen to me," and they're like, "I have no idea what you're saying." So this is basically a wonderful distillation of classical text I did there, but
Yes.
and so he and John Levy have been so gracious. I've seen them for years and years and years. And I was so obsessed with the UK Shameless. So in Shameless, it's so funny because Rebecca Metz also told a story about Shameless.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So the night before, I had this audition. I went over. I think I was bringing over like a celebratory vodka thing for Perry Tiao, which was like he can hold his liquor.
Mm.
And he's a producer on Cloud Atlas. He's done a bunch of stuff in kind of surreal horror, and he's a really cool filmmaker who's constantly pushing everyone's buttons. And he kind of was like, Liz, I think for you, it's gonna be about figuring out your shadow self and figuring out the parts of you that you're trying to hide and bringing them to the forefront. And he was like, I'd be really clear on what it is you want to do and say as a storyteller. And it was the night before this audition to play someone who had a substance abuse thing. I mean, of course it's Shameless, so it was like hysterical. And I have had substance abuse stuff in my life, and it's not something that I often bring into a room. And I remember going in and feeling like, okay, here it is. Just when you connect to the words and you're in the fugue state and you feel like, even if it's not the best thing that you see all day, this is the most truthful from me and my life experience. And therefore I can believe in the integrity of this. And I looked up and I thought John Levy hated it.
Mm.
To a level where I got in my car and I had my meltdown and I told Jacob that I was quitting acting.
Uh-huh.
But like in a level where he was like, oh, this is more so than the normal weeping and gnashing of teeth. To the point where he apparently made a deal with God that he would go to church every Sunday if I booked it.
Oh, wow.
And I did book it. They ended up actually cutting the role, but it was such a like,
No.
but it was such a weird affirming thing because it means, first of all, that whatever barometer I have to checking in with what people do or do not think of my work is broken. And
Right.
that's just something I'm going to have to accept. And also that, you know, if you feel like you're connected, that's all you got, kid.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, that is all it's about, really, when you get down to it, is being connected to the character and the material and
Yeah.
what you're doing, what you're presenting.
Yeah. But it was, I don't know. It was, and since then, I have found, like, because something I wrote down that night is I wanted to play women that were kind of like not caught as much in the paradigms of, you know, the Madonna, you know, the kind of archetypes that women can get caught in. And I've gotten to play serial killers, and I've gotten to, you know, like, not just die, but I think play more complex.
Wait, when did you play a serial killer? Because I need to see this immediately.
Girl. Thank you. So it's a film called Recovery. John Liang, it was his debut film, but it's on Redbox and Amazon.
Oh, I'm watching that tonight.
Girl, thank you.
Girl.
So I gave away a reveal. Sorry if this director listens to it. I love you, John. But yeah, it was and it was another one where I like sat in the car and I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring that person that I don't often like to air on a Tuesday.
Right.
And so it was such a beautiful experience. You know,
and it's so funny to me because, like, to me, you're just this beautiful, like, fairy who helps everybody and, like, is constantly just, like, finding ways to be more helpful.
Oh my
So
God.
to, like, see and hear you talk about, you know, your shadow self and going through these darker times and presenting yourself in roles that are darker is just so, it's enlightening because you don't really understand, you know, a person fully. And that's what acting is so beautiful, because it's like you get to be able to show that self.
I thank you. I love you. And I think I always whenever I'm playing somebody that's just like truly nasty, or like I've also gone through string. I recently got to work on a Friends thing that I can't speak more about other than saying that I play like a narcissistic space pirate.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so funny, like playing narcissists, you know, like I think comedy is such a gift because it holds up the part of you that's most nugatory and ugsome. And it's like laugh at me being this version of myself, like the part where I really am an asshole. And play on that, and like no one act like this, right? Like it's the educational benefit of comedy. You can learn how not to behave.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And I think kind of the same about drama. Like but I think that sometimes that gift, I think it comes back to the performer tenfold, because there's that quote from Quills, which is one of my favorite films, talking about like weird, wonderful, dark work, where Kate Winslet's character says, you know, because she's reading the Marquis de Sade's work, and she's talking about like, I couldn't be such a good person, not that I'm saying a good person, I'm highly flawed, but I think at least in terms of anyway, she says in real life, if I couldn't be such a bad person on the page, and I feel like there's an exorcism of the parts of yourself almost that can happen on some sets. I mean, you know, sometimes you go on and you're like, all right, this is my 5 lines, farewell everyone, like it's an honor to be here today. skip
Twas an honor, see you later.
Yeah, you know, and because you're there to serve somebody else's story, but when you get to be when you get to go on that journey, and that's the part of the story that you have to serve, particularly when you're playing people who are more villainous on the page. I mean, I don't need to say that. I know that's everybody's conversation right now. We're in a generation of film and television where we're kind of obsessed with the anti-hero. But
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a part of us that grows from watching that, and definitely as a performer.
Oh yeah, definitely. When you let that out, that part of you shine for a second, then it's like, oh, okay, I feel cathartic now. I feel good.
Yeah.
It's good. So what's next for you, Miss Liz? What are you working on? Have you been able to work since this pandemic started?
A little bit. I did a Lifetime flick called Killer Grades with one of my favorite directors. We've worked on a couple things together. A guy named Jose Montesinos. I'm grateful that he keeps lugging me around. I've got another Lifetime movie, and Secrets in the Snow, that's running, I think, this weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah, I cry a lot in that one, but I guess I can't say if I die or not, but
Damn it.
but I'm a bad girl, I'll say that.
Ooh.
And then well, complicated, not to judge your characters, right? And
I totally judge my characters. Not until after, but like once
and then
I'm
you're like,
done with them, I'm like, wow.
She's kind of
Kind of awful.
super real. So I think we're getting a second season with the thing that I'll hopefully be able to talk about more.
Oh, good.
Where I'm a space pirate, which is amazing.
That's incredible.
And then I
want to be a space pirate. That
Girl,
sounds so fun.
You would be an amazing pirate. I can't really do like wonderful hard R's in a way that's so she's much more sprightly. It just wasn't working the other way. And I got to do A Christmas Carol with CTG this year. They did an amazing fundraiser. Yeah, so I got to play Fred's wife.
Oh, fun!
So I essentially got to crap on Ebenezer for a while.
Yeah,
in a like lively party. But of course, we all had to shoot it in a green screen environment, and then they added us against like this storybook background. So
that's so cool. I did A Christmas Carol a lot as a child, and I played basically every Cratchit known to man. And then I played like Little Fan and one of the children, I think Want at the end. I played like every child character that you could play in that show.
You were unspeakably adorable as a child. I was not. I was like 1% body fat, basically this height. So I just look like a daddy long legs. So like whenever I see adorable children, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the reason they're on a lot of pictures.
It's why I worked more as a child than I have as an adult. I was a very cute
just because you're
child.
trying to run stuff too. You're all you work all. I can't. This is not even a conversation we're having. Everyone, ignore her. Google her. Google Jillian. Okay.
I've been doing conversions of all of my old like VHSs and my tapes and whatnot that I have.
Oh, I want to see so bad.
That's been one of my pandemic projects that I've been doing. But it's funny, I've been doing all of my Days of Our Lives tapes. My mom taped almost every episode I was on, which is a lot of tapes to get through. But I realized today when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, I was such an asshole. Like I literally just yelled at my mom the entire show and like ran out of rooms. Blamed her for my dad's death when it was a serial killer, like a bunch of things. I think I so far I've counted that I've gone to like 5 funerals and I've cried at like and like gravestones and things. And it's just like, wow, that was my life as an 11-year-old. Interesting.
Honestly, I wonder sometimes in storytelling, because I nothing moves a plot along like a child not understanding a parent's suffering. Sometimes, sometimes I feel like you're more of an embodiment also of for my
100%.
friends that are parents of like, because I know a lot of them are going through right now being cooped up with their loved ones, as we all are. And, sometimes you're like, yes, that is how it feels. Like sometimes like it's a serial killer and they're like, no, it's not, it's you killed them, and you're like, well,
Literally. Yeah. No, it was that like the dad was like on life support or something after a serial killer hit him over the head with a brick, and she took him off life support, and of course I ran around the hospital screaming at her. So there's that.
Again, these are all tapes that I desperately want to see now.
Oh, I will send you them. I found this one of because I did pageants when I was a child as well.
Of course you did. Of
Only
course
for
you did.
like 2 years. It was like a 1998 and 2000 stint before I went to IMTA. And I found this beautiful one of me doing what was it? It was Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas performing it. And so I sent it to my dear friend Mandy because she's just as obsessed with Pocahontas as I am, and she recreated the dance in a park, and I sobbed laughing. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I want to see all of it. I said I want to see your canon. I want to see.
It's a deep canon, man. It's full of some dark things.
Also, I loved the Pocahontas soundtrack as a kid. I'm just remembering now.
It was so good. That
It
and
was
Anastasia were like the
Yes.
best.
Oh God, I'm still recovering from my crush on Dimitri. I just cut Jacob's
Same.
COVID hair, and I like left a lock that falls on his forehead, and I know that's a Dimitri like hangover. Like,
Yes.
I'm just like, did I not cut that long hair? That's weird.
That's so bizarre. Dimitri was like the perfect man, and then having him voiced by John Cusack was like the best because I love him.
Yeah. Also, like the first time you realized what a honey dipped voice he had.
Right. Just like this beautiful, like sensual voice that a child should not be attracted to, but it was. So.
I mean, it's anyone that watched Anastasia. I'll go on paper. I'm never going to be hired by Disney. But I'll go on paper saying anyone who didn't have an awakening watching Anastasia, you weren't plugged in.
You're lying.
Yes, at least true. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm so thankful that you came on the show and had a laugh with me. Where can people follow your journey on social media?
Oh God. So I'm Liz Fenning actor person on Instagram. Because I took
love that so much.
very seriously. And then I think I'm just Liz Fenning on everything else. Thank you. This is such a treat. I miss you.
I miss you.
Thank you for all that this podcast does for storytellers. It's beautiful.
Thank you. You know what I was thinking about the other day because I need to go through my closet so bad. All of those amazing drives that you used to do where we just like dump all of our clothes in your living room and say, take it, please. Get rid of it.
Oh my gosh. I just did another one and now it's just like sitting in my home because people can't take donations right now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's like a mountain by our doorway.
We're going to have a huge purge once we're all vaccinated, and then like we can just, get rid of everything because I feel like I need to do that so badly.
Yeah, that's a charity plug for Corazon de Vida. Which is a program that works. That's where those clothes went, particularly an orphanage called Casa de Paz in Mexico. But they also help children who are in foster care, currently in the adoptive system, etc. They do so much important work, particularly providing scholarships, food to those across the border for whom are not doing so well right now with maybe some of their donor base changing a little bit in COVID. So sorry, plug.
And this is why I always think of you as like this perfect little fairy, because you do all this work with Autism for Actors, and then you do this work for that charity and the clothes and the donations and the drives that you do. It's just like you're just like one of the coolest people I know, and I'm thankful to have you in my life, lady.
Likewise. And thank you. You've literally shown up for all of that. So that is 110% likewise. I love you.
Oh, love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again to my dear friend Liz for coming on the show and talking to me. It's always good to catch up with friends on here. It's nice to feel connected to people when, we've been through such a challenging year. That's the word for it, I think. But yeah, so thank you to Liz, and thank you to you for listening every week. It's very kind, and I'm having a great time, and I hope you are too. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to it right now. Tell your friends, tell your family, rate, review. It really helps get the word out and helps with other things. And I don't know, maybe one day somebody will pay me to do this. That'd be fun. Tune in next week. I don't know who's going to be on, but somebody will, because, hey, it's the new year and we're back. And as always, thanks for coming in.
Talmor, Sheshin Marachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.